Good morning, and goodness, do I need a haircut. Hi, everybody. My name is Jeff Blankenberg. If you haven't been here before, I'm building a big Alexa skill for Alexa skill developers, and that's what we're working on today. And you may say, Jeff, you have glasses on? Yeah, sometimes I wear glasses. It's actually pretty rare, but I made a joke on Twitter the other day that I hadn't put my glasses on in weeks, maybe months, and everything had been fine. But I was like, I wonder what the difference will be. So I grabbed them off my desk, put them on my face, and all of a sudden everything was so crisp and clear and easy to read. And I found that at least the setup that I have here right now, reading the comments has been kind of a challenge for me because they are kind of small and they're on a tiny monitor that's way up here in front of me. And it lets me look at the camera while I'm also reading comments and chatting with everyone. Good morning, Jan. How are you? Jan is my mom. Anyway, I have been working on this for quite a while. One of the things that I've been fighting with, actually, is figuring out how to... I'm going to close this. Figuring out some things with our answer intent. So, quick background, just for those that haven't been here before, and we can jump to this view, is... The answer intent is designed to be a Q&A style interface. And so, hey, Soundmaster, good morning. So, the answer intent is meant to be a Q&A style interface. So, you can say something like, how do I monetize my skill? Or how do I make money? Or something like that. And then the skill can say, oh, you're asking about how to monetize. Here's some things I'd recommend. Here's some pages I'd recommend you go to. It's quick, right? We don't want Alexa talking to you for half an hour about a subject, but we want you to have access to the resources or the knowledge or the tech doc or whatever the thing is that makes the most sense for your solution. And so I have this really nice table that I've started, which has things like people's names that work here, like Amanda Lang is one of my teammates. We have things like account linking and audio formats and beta testing and how all of these things work. And then you can also see that we have a bunch of synonyms for these. So you might say account linking, but you might also say OAuth or connect to another system, or how do I do user identity? All of those things fall into the same bucket, but I want to make sure that I'm catching it the way that you would say it. And so I have all these synonyms for things. And to talk through the workflow of a skill, you have to remember that skills evolve and grow even after they've been published, and this is no exception. So as we think about all of the questions that we have here, or I guess I should say the answers, this is my answer table. These are the things that I think people might ask me about. But I don't actually know what people are going to ask me about. I only have suspicions, right? I only know what I know. And so one of the mechanisms that I've built into this is I have another table in my database called missed answer. This missed answer table is a mechanism that I built specifically so that if somebody asks me a question, like, what's a good one? Taco Bell. Like I was using this as a test a couple days ago. So if I say, tell me about Taco Bell, or how do I Taco Bell, or whatever it is, but I'm using that as the kind of subject that I want to ask for, Alexa doesn't know anything. Well, Alexa does. My skill doesn't know anything about Taco Bell. And so
From yellowbot.com. Taco
Alexa,
Bell is a chain of Mexican-style restaurants that serves a variety of food items and beverages.
See, she does know. Alexa, stop. Okay, so my skill doesn't know anything about Taco Bell, though, and so what I can do is capture that and record it. And so that's what I'm doing here, is I'm saying, oh, they asked me about Taco Bell, and I don't know what to do with that. So I throw it in this table, and then actually, this is kind of a cool thing I can do with Airtable. So we can do what we call an automation. And in the automation, I can say, let's get rid of this one. This is something I was playing around with yesterday. But let's say I want to, when a record is created, and then we need to say what table we want. So we want missed answer. When a new record is created in missed answer, then we want to do something. And so in this case, I want to send an email. And the email is going to go to new missed answer in voice developer skill. Again, these are always updatable here on Airtable. But what I'm going to do is say Airtable at jeffblankenberg.com and my, oh, this is, take that, make that the subject line of the email also. Now, can I, heck yeah, check this, well, let's see if we can do it this way. This is pretty sweet. What if I say inside there that I want the value? Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I didn't even think I could do that. Okay, so I'm creating this automation, and I'm creating a subject line that says, hey, here's the new value, and we'll test this here in a second. It is a new missed answer in the voice developer skill. And then we could say, a user just asked the voice just asked about, we'll put it in quotes this time, just asked about value in the voice developer skill, and I didn't have an answer for them. You should consider creating an entry in the answer table to make this available for future requests. Whoa, 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 whoa. Slow your roll. Requests. Can't type. Requests. Okay, and then we don't need any attachments. All of that looks good. Do I... we want to rename this. Edit description. Rename automation. Great. All of this looks pretty good. Pretty good. Do I need to save? I don't even think I need to save. I think it's just there. So let's test our, let's do this like the full test, like a full run through. So I'm gonna say run my local debugger. Got it. Go to my testing tool. Open voice developer. Let's fire it up.
Welcome back. Did you know that you can ask for sound effects? Just say something like, play a laser sound effect.
And then let's come up with something that we want to ask about. Now I use Taco Bell and tacos quite frequently, but let's do something simple. Tell me about socks. It should be like, oh, I don't know anything about socks.
I don't have a record for socks. My apologies. I'll do some research. What can I help you do next?
Now the things that we should notice are that if we go to our data, oh, it wasn't on. Great. Okay, so go back to my automation, turn it on. Okay, now it's on. Now we're going to go to data. We'll just enter a record here. So we'll that's fine. I upgraded this yesterday. Don't be jerks. Okay. So in here I could say Red Bull. And what I should do, why don't I have a user ID? Oh, because... Okay, so I wonder how that will work. Let's go off screen just for a second. I'm going to open my actual email. That's always scary to put in on the screen. Okay, let's do this the real way because I don't like how that came through. Because I entered the record manually. So let's say, tell me about Red Bull. And it'll say, hey, I don't know anything about Red Bull.
I don't have a record for Red Bull. My apologies. I'll do some research. What can I help you do next?
Okay. All of that looks good. Now, oh, that's interesting. I must have screwed something up. Anyway, this is the email that I just received. And you can see here that a user just asked about Red Bull in the voice developer skill, and I didn't have an answer for them. You should consider creating an entry in the answer table to make this available for future requests. So the moment that someone says something that I wasn't expecting, I get an email, and then I can take action on that email to go in. And I mean, I have to make some minor changes, but basically I want to update this answer table with a new record for Red Bull. And so that all seems pretty straightforward. The catch is updating this table isn't really enough. One of the other things that I need to do then is that once I've made the changes to this table, I need to update my interaction model. I need to push that through my code, right? We could take this whole thing and we could jump into our code and we could look at our interaction model. And down here you can see that I have these are the answers that I have already, right? This is all the JSON that lists all of the items that we have in our list. So I could come in here and add one for Red Bull, but I would just copy and paste all of them back in, so I get all the nice synonyms and all the other things. Good morning, Dana Voice. Good to see you. And then I would have to do an ask deploy. The problem with this, and the problem that I'm trying to solve, and the thing that I'll talk you through here in just a second, is that I'm not the one doing all of this. This is where bigger skills that have a lot of people that are contributing to them, this is where a lot of things start to fall apart. Because I am now a roadblock. I am now a bottleneck for anyone that's trying to make these changes on their own. Because I'm going to hand some of this off to a marketing team or a content team. And they're going to be the ones that are thinking about what are the other bits of content and stuff that we want to have inside this skill. Hey, Kevin Evans, good morning. And so as we think about what is all of the content that's going to be in here and who's going to manage it, they're probably not going to have a development environment. They're probably not even familiar with a terminal. And so getting them to have a version of the skill and all of its code on their machine, the latest build, so they're using some kind of git commands to pull down the latest build of the code, then have a CLI installed, then be able to type ask deploy, and have it also then use what? My developer account credentials and everything else. All of that sounds terrible. So this is the struggle that I run into, is how do I automate all of this stuff so that they can just come in and edit a spreadsheet, and as far as they're concerned, that's the only changes they need to make. My understanding is that this is possible. And there's a couple of ways that I can go about this. So let me take you to some code that I've written. It's commented out for reasons. But I originally was trying to use what we call dynamic entities. Now I'll kind of walk you through this. Let me blow it up a little bit for you. I'll walk you through what I'm actually trying to do here. But I have a function that goes and gets me all of the answers from the table. So if I say get most recent answers, all it's doing in my query is saying get me everything in the answers table that isn't disabled, anything that's been turned off for whatever reason. And so it just goes and gets me all of the records. And as you look at it right now, there are, if I look at the US version, there are 78 answers that are assigned to the US locale. Well, one of the things that I know about dynamic entities is that it can handle up to 100 new values. And so I could, I have two options when I call the dynamic entities directive. One is replace, which means I'm going to provide you with a new list of slot values, and you can, and you're going to replace what's there with the things that I have. I thought that the other property, let me actually take this. We'll go into the tech docs because I'm convinced that this is true, but I'm probably wrong still. So this looks like a Yeah, this is the doc I was using. So I have two options. I can update a dynamic entity with replace. This replaces all of the values that were currently there. And the other thing that I can do is use the word clear. This basically just clears out the slot. And so instead of replacing, I'm just deleting all the slot values. And there's a variety of reasons why you might want to do something like that, especially if you're building a slot dynamically for a user. So let's say that I build a skill and I ask the user what all 10 of their children are named. Let's assume they have 10 children for the sake of the example. I could ask them those 10 names, and then I could dynamically, on the fly, build a slot that has the names of their children built in. And then they could ask for one of the children or whatever. But let's say one of the kids graduates high school and moves on, and so they're not assigning chores and tasks and things in the skill the way they normally would, and so they don't want that person in the list anymore. Well, we could mark our data is disabled and then not upload that anymore, or they could, maybe all the kids have moved out, and so now they don't need that functionality anymore. It's just about that person and their spouse. And so they just want to clear that thing. This allows them to do all of that stuff. We can clear the slot or we can replace the values in the slot. The thing that I really wish I had was the ability to update the slot. That is not a thing I can do because update would keep the values that are there, but maybe append is the better word. I want to append to that slot so that there are more values than I had before. And if I provide duplicates, which is very possible, then I want you to use my new version, not the old version. So I would want you to delete whatever the old one was and just overwrite it with the one that I just gave you. I think the reason that doesn't exist is because that's a harder problem to handle on the API side. So my options are replace or update. So I did that. I jumped in and I created this whole, like if I uncomment this, it'll run. But the trick is it's not 100 values, and I imagine my answer slot is going to grow to significantly over 100 values. And it's not actually 100 values. It's the sum of the values you have plus their synonyms. And so if you figure that most of my terms are going to have, let's say on average, 3 synonyms also, that's the term, plus 3 synonyms is 4, I can have 25 entries in my slot. That's not enough. And so I wrote all of this code with the intention of using dynamic entities, thinking I could just slide in under 100 or maybe just use the 100 most recent or something. But none of that's actually going to work for me. So that leads me to my next potential solution, which is something called interaction model catalogs. This is where I can be a little bit more dynamic. I can be a little, well, maybe less dynamic, but I can be, I can put myself in a situation where I've created what we call a catalog of slot values, and I can update that only via an API call. But in a perfect world, what I would be able to do is come into Airtable, and I'd create a new automation that says anytime there is a change. So let's look at create automation. Anytime there is a new record created or updated, then what I want you to do is go run a Lambda function for me that's going to generate a new catalog. It's basically just a JSON document with all the slot values, and make an API call that submits that JSON file to this catalog so that the catalog can be updated. I can do that outside of certification. I can update it as frequently as I'd like, and it can be very sizable because it is sent as a catalog and ingested, and doesn't require me to go through the standard certification processes or anything like that. So that is that's a lot more work because, one, the automations that are here aren't possible to do that. I think my next step, if I was going to do this, and I'm not going to do this today, I just want to talk about it, is to use a service like Zapier, which if you guys haven't used is amazing. Why doesn't this remember my stuff? Oh, come on. I must be logged out of LastPass. Hold on. No? Why doesn't it remember this? Authentication app, that's over here on my phone. One moment. Okay, now we'll get an authentication code. It's in this LastPass Authenticator, and I'm looking for Zapier. There we go. So if you guys haven't used this, this is actually an incredible orchestration tool. I use it for a number of things for our Alexa Slack community. So it'll push some content in and updates like the Twitter stuff, and every time we go live on Twitch, it puts an update in there, all those kinds of things. But I wonder if I create a new Zap. This is like I think of this like if this then that, like on steroids. So Airtable is a thing. Okay, so maybe we could do it this way. Maybe. I still have some complexity that I need to work through, but man, if I could just get this to do two things for me. One would be to create the JSON file that's necessary. And then two, make the API call for me. So there's three. Create the JSON file, upload it to an S3 bucket on AWS, and then make the API call that tells it where to go get the file, and do that on a trigger based on when Airtable changes. So we're going to choose an event, new or updated record. You guys know me. This is so good. Okay, so a new or updated record in my Airtable. Great. So we're going to choose an account. I think that's got to be me. Great. So the base that I want is going to be answers. I assume that's the right one. They make this kind of hard to figure out. We should verify that that's the right one. Let's do it this way. There isn't an easy way on the like user side of Airtable, but if I come here and I look at my bases, no, I actually wanted this here. Okay, so if I look at the no, here we go, data. Was it asking me for a base? It was asking me for a base. So this is going to be voice developer, I think. No, it's not. Okay. It's asking for the individual base, and the one I want is called data. Is there a way to see, even in the URL here, if I hover over this, yeah. So this is going to be, it's going to end in 1AR3. So if I look at this, that is not it. I want one called data that ends in 1AR3. There you are. Yeah, see, this isn't good. I don't like that interface because I have lots of bases called lots of different things. The table in here that I want is going to be called answer. These are all of my table names. You can see how it just, Zapier automatically integrates all this stuff. And so I'm going to choose the answer table. And you must have at least one last modified time. I do. Which timestamp field should it look at? Last modified is the field that I want. Limit to view. We should only do ENUS. We're gonna have to create one of these for each locale anyway. Include file contents. Returns an extra file field with file contents. I don't think that's what I want. Yeah, I don't think I want that. Okay, so I'm going to hit continue. We'll find a recent record in your Airtable account to confirm that the right account is connected and your trigger is set up correctly. Okay, let's test our trigger, and we get account linking. That looks like my data. Beautiful. I don't love that I can't set any queries on it. I have a solution to this. Okay, so the query stuff that I would want to add, if I go back to my data, is that I have these ones that are is disabled. I think that for ENUS, it should only be things that are not disabled. So if you go to let's call this all. Let's rename this. Rename this to all answers. Perfect. And so all answers has everything, right? It has everything in every locale. It has things that are disabled, like intent history. And then this one, this is clean and pristine. This is only the list of things that are ENUS. Okay, maybe we can pull this off. Okay, so now that I have the ability to get a trigger to fire when a record is new or updated in that specific table. So that means somebody added an answer or updated any field in any part of that database. Then what I want to do is we're going to try AWS. No, how about, what if I just say S3? Because that's really what I want. I have to pay for that. Well, but I am paying for Zapier. So I want to choose an event. I want to... Nope, I think we need to do something first. So we're going to do... Is there like a JSON? No. I want to change how incoming data is formatted. Yeah, that's what we want. Work with text data, define, capitalize, remove HTML, and more with line item support. I don't know that that's what I want either, but this is just text. This is just text. This doesn't actually solve my problem. We need to go back, because what it's sending me here is setup trigger. It's going to send me the record that has been changed, and that's, I don't actually care about that. I just want to know that a record has been updated. So maybe our first stop, and this is again why I absolutely love Zapier for this kind of stuff, rather than writing a bunch of code application stuff myself, is that I could say, let's say Airtable again. I don't know what the difference is. We'll say latest. So create record, update record. No, I want to get the whole table. Find many records. Okay, let's try this another way. I want to HTTP. Can I do post? Can I do what's recurly? Nope, don't want that. You go away. What I could do is specify a very unique URL that has everything that I need in it. And I could just say, go get me, because the URL will produce JSON. I want to see this whole list. I want to know path, delay, filter, format. I don't want any of those. Is there just like a get? What is get response? No, that's for some. That's for something else. Change. They've got to have just like a... What is RSS? No. There has to be... What are your 20 built-in tools? Schedule, formatter, filter. Webhooks kind of feels like it. Let's see if it'll let me do that. Webhooks. And in here, single GET request. Okay, and you want me to use query string params here. I think this might just do it for us. So if we jump into our code for that get most recent answers, this is the query that I was using to get what I want. And this is not enough, but it's a start. Let me go find one of these that has a locale in it, because locale is really what I care about. Find locale, Control C, and we go back to get most recent office hours. We're going to have to add, no, that's not the one I want anyway. Get most recent answers. This needs to go right there, and I need to specify locale. Which, how do I do that in the other ones? If I get most recent, no, that one doesn't have it. Get random answer. Do I pass the locale in? No, I do this. Okay. So we're going to do get most recent. We're going to slap this here. That gets us our locale. I need to make sure that handler input is actually passed in. But that doesn't even matter. I just needed this filter by formula anyway. And so the URL that I want, we're going to have to generate this. So I'm going to console log the full path, and this is where you don't get to watch. Just for a moment we'll get rid of this, and we'll reload our code, and I have to run this. So I've got to go to launch request, and we'll just say get most recent answers. That'll just call it for me and not do anything with it. Okay, so if I come back here and I say, let's start over and just talk to the skill. So I'm going to say open voice developer.
Jeff, I had trouble doing what you asked.
What are you talking
Please
about?
try again.
I'm sure that's something I just did. Oh, because I didn't actually pass in the... Okay. So I'm just fixing my method call. I'm actually passing handler input in like I should. Let's try that again. Open voice developer.
Hello, and welcome to Voice Developer. Did you know I can repeat what I just said? Just say, repeat that, to hear anything I say a second time.
No,
What would you like
what
to
I'm trying
try?
to do here, Soundmaster, is I'm trying to get all of the actual records. So what I'm doing is I'm going to give Zapier a very specific URL, which has API keys and stuff in it that I don't want to share with the world, which is why I've turned my screen off for a minute. So that's going to be the URL. I know you guys can't see this. Then I'm going to have a API key. And the API key value is that. Let's add another one, and the next one is going to be filter by formula, and that's going to be there. And then my filter by formula is all of this. Goodness, that looks gross. Okay. These params will be automatically URL encoded. That's actually pretty cool. It makes this much more readable. Okay. I don't think I want to do any of that. Let's just continue and see what happens. Test. Shut the front door. That worked so well. Okay, so now I have all of my data from that table. The problem is that the Airtable limits you to 100 records. I don't have a way. I don't think I have an easy way to do paging. Like, go get another 100. It's a problem for another day. That's a problem for future Jeff. So I have an event that fires that lets me know that, hey, a record has been updated in Airtable. Then I go and I call my database and I get all the records out of the table, and now I have them, and now I want to format the data. So we're back to where I can show you guys what I'm doing. So now I want to format the data. So I think I can show this. If I say test here, you can see that this is the data that's coming out of my table. I have all of my answers here, and I think they're not in any specific order, but that doesn't really matter. I could add some sort conditions to it, but I don't think it really matters. So this is all of the data out of my table, and you can see if I scroll to the bottom that I have all 76 records, and if I come here, I have 76 records. So it's getting all of them, and right now I'm limited to 100, which might be okay. Maybe there's only ever 100, but I feel like this is going to become a bigger problem as we want to add more and more. Anyway, so Zapier lets me get that. Next thing is I'm going to text format that stuff. And so I want to do a transformation. Is there like I want like a JSON. You're not giving me like JSON style. Convert to ASCII, capitalize, default value. None of that is really what I want. What other options do I have? I mean, I didn't find anything when I said JSON. Right? So what were the 20 built-in tools? I feel like I've used Zapier to navigate JSON before. Is there like a data, business intelligence? No. This has got to be here. They have to have something that just lets you like. I mean, it could be this. JSON's just so common. I can't imagine. Delay, schedule, code. Oh, maybe code. Maybe code is what I want. What if we say code? I think this could be it. I'm going to write some custom JavaScript right here. I wish I could make this box bigger. This is wrapped in an async function. You can use await throughout the function. Glorious. And so my output here is ID123 hello world. So I'm outputting an object. All of that is pretty good because what I want to do is kind of loop input data. I want what? Can I just get show me all options? What can I just say, like all the records? I don't know what I'm doing here. Oh, I see. I get to pick all the fields that I want. Okay. That works because I don't really need all of it. I need show all options. I need the record ID, fields, record ID, and then I need, this is just slot values. So if we look at our, I can't believe I'm doing this right now. Okay, so I have this record ID, and then I need the name, and I need the synonyms. But I actually have a column that gives me this nice list, like with quotes and everything. So I need this, and show all options. I need name, I think it's called name, title, name, and then I need whatever the Dana, I don't think there's a focus issue. I apologize if there is. What if I come up here? Is that better? The last thing that I needed was synonyms. There's a squirrel outside my window. I think I want those, but now how do I reference those? Use the input data fields above to assign key names. Ah, so I can, this is cool. So I'm going to call this record ID. We're going to add two more. And we're going to call this shoot. Well, this one. I don't think they like you to do this. Okay, we're just going to do it the manual way. Name is going to be that one. And then, so this will be name. And then this will be synonyms. I actually feel like I just want to compose the JSON object and have it outputted. I wish that's what I could do. So Zapier would now send the updated dynamic entities dictionary to the Alexa service. Kind of, Soundmaster. It's a little more complicated than that, and I'll get into it here in a second. Unfortunately, in order to make the API call, which I can do here, I need to have like an actual physical file. And so that physical file, I think what I'm gonna do is have this create the file for me, upload it to S3, and then potentially run the API call that I need to update that catalog. I think that's what I'm going to do. So show me all options. The last one that I needed was synonym list. Okay, so now, and it looks like they want output to be what I finally create. So we're going to do, oh, that's nice. Okay. For var I, but how do I loop through all the records? Because I'm getting, input data. Input data, perfect. For var equals I equals 0, I is less than input data dot length I plus plus. Okay. And then inside here, there's nothing I love more than writing in a non-code editor code editor. Here we want to, and I'm going to go find this thing. Interaction model catalog code sample. There is a, is it this? Yeah. This is what the file should look like. So I have a values node, and then I have an inside there. There's an array, and it's just dump all of the things here. So let's do the same thing. This. I'm gonna have to write a whole blog post on this if this works out, because this is incredible. It's only 9:45 too. We are crushing it today. Okay, so I'm gonna have a var object data equals, and we're gonna look like this. And inside there, if I get this right, not there. If I get this right, I'm gonna have this values in this array. Okay, so it's going to look like that, and then there's a closed array, and that should be healthy. And then what I can just do is say object data dot values dot push, and I'm going to say object here. And so now I just need a var object equals this new object that I'm creating. And each one of these has ID, name, well, let's go over here, because it's basically this. Okay, so each one of these objects is just going to be this. And so what I want to do here is say the ID is going to be input data dot record ID. Man, this would be amazing. And then the name value is going to be input data dot name. And then the synonyms are, I don't actually know how I do this part. How do I do this? Let's play this cautious. Create JavaScript array with from string with delimiter. This is like split or something. I just can't remember. Split, yeah. So split is I have a string that looks like this, and all I do is say split on the comma. And then it gives me Harry, John, Alice. But if I don't have any, if I don't have any of those commas, so I'm going to have to check and see if it has commas, basically. Otherwise, I'm just going to divide the string up. Well, no, because I would be saying comma. I think what this will do is just give me the one array value. Hey, Witters, yeah, we are rocking and rolling here. Good morning, Quell. We are using Zapier to solve a complex problem with updating a massive slot dynamically as data changes. So kind of a long story, but basically I have a table called answer. This is not going to be operated by me, so I'm going to have a marketing content team that is filling a lot of this stuff in. What I want to have happen is anytime anything in this table changes, I want an automated process that happens that takes the data out of this table, creates a JSON file, puts that JSON file in an S3 bucket, and then makes an API call to the Alexa service to say, hey, I want you to update this slot with this catalog of data I have. Do it. And then it'll just update the slot for me dynamically every time that a change is made to this table. That is powerful stuff because that means that I don't have to manually do any of the slot updates. I don't have to go through certification. Like there's a number of things, but this is called interaction model catalogs, and it's a different way. You write different code even in your interaction model to reference where this data is. Good morning, Brendonius. So what I need to do here is say var synonyms equals input data dot synonyms dot split on the comma. Boy, you don't like any of this. Why OB? Oh, because you're trying to treat this like text. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about all your error messages. And so in here then, I can just get rid of this array and just instead say synonyms. Okay, so then I'm going to push each of those objects into the object data, and my output is just going to be object data. Continue. Well, let's test it. Let's see what our JSON looks like. That doesn't look like what I'm looking for. Jeff. No. So what did we do wrong? We input. I mean, I should be getting all of the data, right? And I don't have a way to like log this. I create an object called object data that has a values node. And then I say object data.values.push, and I create a new object. Well, can I console log like what they gave me something there. Console log. We're just going to say input data. I need to see what I'm getting because it doesn't feel like I'm getting what I want. Oh. That is not at all what I want. Why would you do that? So it's giving me a synonyms property what? So if I get rid of all of these, does that change anything? Like is it me specifying that is causing the problem? So what? This can't be a problem that I'm uniquely trying to solve. I have received a JSON file, and I want to convert that JSON file to something different. Okay, let's try making this simpler. If I just say record ID, and I say that I want the record ID out of here, what do I get? I get a string of comma delimited values. Oh, is it safe to? Okay, so if I add another one, name, and I say that this one continue and test, you're going to give me two properties now. You're going to give me record ID and name, another comma delimited list. Is entity, let's see if the ID for this, JLLH. If I look at my table for entity resolution, JLLH are the last four there. Blech, this is gross. Okay, so what I could do is I could take each of these objects that I guess that we'll call it, it's a string they're giving me, but I could say var record ID equals input data dot record ID dot split on a comma. This would then give me an array of all of those values. Then I could do the same thing for name, right? Var name is input data dot name dot split. This is danger, but I think this will work. And then the last one was synonyms. Onyms. This one's not going to work. Synonyms. Input data dot synonyms. Actually, let's not even worry about this one for a second. So then I could say if it's not input data, we'll just use record ID as our length delimiter. And so we can say, oh, we can comment you out for a second. And we can say my record ID is going to be record ID I, and my value is going to be name I, because I'm assuming they're going to come back in the same order, which I think is a terrible assumption, but that's fine. And then the last piece I have to do is synonyms. Synonyms is going to be really tricky because synonyms have commas in them. So if I say synonyms here, and I go get synonyms here, synonym list. Then what I'm doing isn't going to work. Because they're making no distinction between each set of synonyms. All of my items are comma delimited, and all of their items are comma delimited, and that all gets mixed together in a very gross way. Well, let's focus on the rest of this for now, and we'll just leave synonyms out. We can just say this. And then continue. And let's see if we get what we're looking for now, which is a really nice data object. Yeah! Look at you! See, I know how to do stuff. Don't give me a hard time. Okay, so we now have our data file, basically. I don't think I need anything else. There's values at the top, and I don't think there's any context at the bottom of this file. Just the closing bracket, which I have. So we now have our the text that we want. Now, do we need to like create? If I say S3, I want to create a new text file from the content that I have available to me. I gotta do this. All right, let's fire up some. Oh man! All right, you don't get to watch this part. Bye bye. So that is gonna go. Here, let's move this up here just for a second so I don't lose it. AWS. Sign into the console. And I need to go into AWS, and I need to find my security credentials to get into S3. Now, if I was being really wise, I would probably create like a new IAM role and all that, but you know I'm too lazy for that. Okay, so voice developer is the S3 bucket. Where can I find? You want like hardcore security credentials here, Zapier. Yeah, let's do this the proper way. Okay, so we're gonna go first to IAM. We're gonna create a new role. No, I need a new user. Okay, we're going to add a user. We're going to call this Zapier. Great. And I want to give them S3 read write. I could give them yeah, it's gonna have to be full access, I think. Read, and there's no just like independent write, so full access. That's delightful. Next. And so how do I know? I haven't done this before. How do I know in S3 how security credentials? There we go. Create access key for this guy. I need next. I hear your warnings. I'm moving on. Next. All right, create an access key. All right, here we go. Access key, secret access key. region. Default, yes, continue. Forbidden? What do you mean forbidden? Oh, I didn't copy the right value, apparently. Well, that's weird. Okay. Just bad data. Let's see if it works now. Did it work? Shut up. Oh, that worked. Okay. Awesome. Hey, Jawwork. Good morning. There we go. So now we have my Amazon account set up. That was actually surprisingly easy. Just for a quick background on what I did, I went into my, let's jump back out of this for a second, close that tab so we don't accidentally open it again. I had to go create a new user in my AWS account, and then I had to assign it specific permissions to have access to S3. Then I had to generate new security credentials for that user, and then enter those into the thing here on Zapier so that it knows to have access to it. And so now it does. So now the bucket that I want is probably called Voice Developer, yeah. I don't know what do you mean key? Key, I think that we're just going to call this answer slot. I think that's what they mean by key. And then the content is going to be the whole thing. What are we fooling around here for? Do I have to do some kind of text transformation first? Actually, maybe I don't need this. What if we just do... In this one, where we're setting up our action, we create this whole object and do all of this stuff. What if I just said object data dot toString here at the end? If I do that, does it just give me this nice long string? Why can't I do that? Can I do this? It does not like me just passing out a string, huh? It gave me the option, let's go back, of the JavaScript output. The data will be provided as strings. That's something I wish I had learned earlier. So I have this really nice object data. Object. Can't stop hitting that. Continue. If I retest this now, I should get my really nice object. And I do. And so in here, you think? I mean, the problem is it's breaking all of the objects up again. This is the same problem that I had a second ago, where it's like this is just the name value. So if we look at a structure here, it's giving me name value, and it's just giving me a list of all of these. It's like it's decomposing my objects for me, which I don't really appreciate. I just want the entire output of this thing to go in here, and it's not really giving me that. It's taken those all apart. And this is, and that's the logging, which I should turn off. Set up. We should get rid of this logging because that's actually an output. Although, what if as a hack, I said console.log object data dot toString continue retest that's my log, that object there, but can I do something else? Can I use JSON.stringify? Because that's really what I would want to use here. JSON.stringify object data and an extra parens. Continue. If you let me output it that way, that's fine and dandy. And it did. And down here at the bottom, I have nothing. Oh, I apologize. My wife is at IKEA helping me with another project that I'm working on. And she needs to know the answer to a question. Okay. So I wonder if now I could take my log output, which it doesn't have anything for. All right, let's go back one more time and look at this setup. What else could I do in here? Continue, retest. What does that give me at the bottom? Ooh. Doesn't, we're close. And that's where Stringify is nice because it blows out all those sub-objects also. Anyway, this is dumb. This is not the right approach. I should be able to wish there was more information. If you're not familiar with JavaScript, I probably should ask a developer for help. That probably is also true. Right. Please make this code work. Does not do it. Why can't I just send this out as a string? Like, what if I just said tacos are tasty? I should be able to do that, right? You must return a single object or array of objects. I have to return data. Okay. fine. We are returning data. And it looks glorious. But then I want to take that JSON and I want that whole string and I want to create a text file from it. This should not be hard. But that's not a bad idea. This just feels so hacky, right? Like this should be an easy thing to do. But we could do this. Continue. Retest. You must return. Oh, it's got to be an object. All right. Not an array. I can't do an array. I can do an array of objects, but I have to do something like this. Okay. How you like me now? Oh, did I leave it? God. Okay. Unexpected token semicolon. Oh, we're so close. Let's just see what happens here. So as I look at this, and I come in here, and I come in here, value, object, go back. Maybe we do JSON.stringify. And that should work. Object data. Look at that. A string. Stupidest thing I've ever heard. Okay. So in here, I should now be able to say value. I don't actually know what you mean by key. If I go to S3, it's going to put it right here. If I action, no. Can't even create a new text file here. It's going to ask me to add a file, which is upload. I don't want to do that. But you see how I don't see anything called key? It's so, I mean, I have an encryption key. I don't think that's what we mean. We're going to go with key. I guess we'll just go with key and see what happens. Answer slot.json is what I want to call it. Continue. Test. Shut up. Do we open it? Do we open it? That's mind-blowing. We just did that. Okay. Okay. So we're close. So now we have our catalog. Now, we're still missing our synonyms. That's a solvable problem. But that's exciting. And then, so the next thing that I need to do in Zapier is that I need to make that API call. And this is the part that I don't actually know what I'm doing yet. So we need to do we have catalogs in here? Catalog. Do I have a different page where I look this up? No. Nope. Nope. Okay. Catalog. Don't want that one. Don't want any of those. No, I want none of it. Okay, so let's try this again. Interaction model catalog. Does that help? Yes. Update catalog definition. That's not the one I want. That just gives me like the name and the description of it. Is this the one that has... No. Hold on. This guy gave me a URL yesterday. Maybe this will help me solve my problem. This could be huge if I can solve this. And I promise you, I will write a whole blog post on what in the world I'm doing and how it works with a demo. Let me see if I can find... Where did I have that conversation yesterday? There's also this automatic updates for reference-based catalogs. This is a blog post that my friend Jeff Nunn wrote, but I think he does everything from the CLI. Yeah, I need the SMAPI call reference thing. So let's go see if we can do Alexa SMAPI reference. Which this seems like it would be, and so I can see that I have my potential API calls here. Now this is where I get a little hung up because they have create catalog, and I did this yesterday. I was able to create a catalog, and I received back a catalog ID. So I have created a catalog. Now what I want to do is I don't think any of this is really what I want. Delete the catalog, that's great. I don't want any of those. Should probably learn how to do this anyway. But nowhere in here do I see a call or like update catalog definition. This takes a catalog ID and an access token. And then you have a request body that specifies like the name and the description. That's no good. This one, version definition, just allows me to change the description. I don't see the one. This is what this guy's trying to tell me. Yeah, I don't want the CLI version. I want the SMAPI version of this. And it just doesn't seem to be here in the docs. Oh, we are so close. Huh. No, because it's not a delete thing. If I create the catalog, I don't have the ability to provide the values either. This is all that I can pass in is like, what's the name, what's the description? And I did that. I have that in my launch request file. I saved it. This is the catalog that I created. This is the ID for it. Now, I did that with the CLI, not with API calls, but I already have a catalog called answer. What I need is the ability to point it at my new file. And that's why I feel like maybe Jeff Nunn's stuff could be close. So what he does up here, and this is more or less what I want to do, he creates somewhere. He creates the catalog, and he goes, and that catalog ID is returned. You'll need it later. So that's the catalog ID that I have. Then you need to upload the ingredients JSON to S3. We've done that. Zapier is solving that problem for us. Then we need to create a catalog version using my ingredients file. So create interaction model catalog version. So this says I want to create a new catalog version, right? So if we look at this, create catalog version. I guess that could be this URL. I don't think so, though. The URL, HTTPS URL to the catalog location. Okay. So you're saying that I want to send this authenticated using this command. Okay, maybe we can do this. So let's go back to Zapier because this is the thing we want to do it. We have our text object. The next thing that we want to do is webhooks again. And choose an event. I want to fire off a post. Is that how they want to do this? Yeah, a post message. Okay. So is it going to break all this stuff down for me? Post message. Continue. And we have authentication that I can do down there. We'll have to figure. Well, we'll figure out with the headers and all that how this is going to work. But my base URL, the host, is api.amazonalexa.com. Okay. This is coming through as JSON. This is... The rest of my post is this with the catalog ID, which we'll get in a second. So I can do all of this like that. And then we'll go back to here and get my catalog ID and put that here. You guys have no idea how cool this would be if this works. This is my request body, but I don't think they give me like... Where do I put that in? Can I just do that? Okay. All right, this is coming together. We have our public URL, which is never going to change. And we're going to put that right here. I don't really care about this. This is the slot data for the answer intent for the voice developer skill. I don't know how to do the authentication piece though. Header, I guess I can just say access token, and then this is something I've played with here on Alexa before. Access token, and then this is going to be some data, but my fear is that this is going to change, right? If I do, whoa. Get an access token when you're the client and the resource owner is different. Do these things expire? Okay, get an access token, configure your security profile. I feel like I'm venturing into, I don't know why these pages are all loading in Japanese either. Signed in to a thing. Let's do this just because I don't know what we're going to see here. 284710. Create a new security profile. All right. Okay. More IDs and secrets. Now what am I doing with these IDs and secrets? On the computer where you installed the Ask CLI, go to the command line and enter the ask util generate LWA tokens. Okay. Man, this is a lot of work. So let's go to our terminal. Generate LWA tokens. Allow. expires on February 9th, 2023 at... Oh, this is not gonna work. If I take this, and I come over here to this, and I just drop in this access token nonsense. I know you guys can't see what I'm doing. Just give me a second. All right. Well, I guess we'll just run the Zapier thing and see what happens. Continue. Test. Oh, okay. I can do that. Great. 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 Continue. Test. Token is invalid or has expired. What a surprise. The thing that it generated for me so it's almost like I gotta go get this first. Oh, this is so annoying. Yeah, I can refresh the token. Let's try this again. When I generate these tokens, they automatically have an expiration that seems to be really fast. 38. Yeah, I mean, we're talking second. Like, this thing lasts for a brief second. All right. Well, that may be my stopping point for right now, until I can get that straightened out, because that token's always going to be expired the way I'm doing it now. And Dana, you say that there's an API to use the refresh token to generate a usable token. Yeah, there's my screen back. But I think I'm hitting a wall. We're so close. All right, I'm going to have to spend some time digging into how I generate and maintain a token, because I'm either going to have to do something in here to generate that token on the fly, yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, I'm going to have to get Zapier to make an API call to get me the token so that I can then make the call to update the catalog. Too much for my brain to handle today. But we've made really good progress. I mean, we went from did a record change in our database to, hey, we have an updated S3 file. That's pretty awesome. And we're really close on the webhook post too. So I don't know if I'll get a ton of time to do any research today, but we may have to put a hold on this. Let me leave myself some notes. to do. Need to figure out how to get an access token for a SMAPI call to last longer than 1 second in Zapier. Can I link myself like right to this? So let's close the guide. Let's call this thing update answer slot. Cancel. No, I don't want to. I don't want to lose anything. I want to. Great. Can I go back? Is everything saved? Okay, so if I look at this, update answer slot is right here. So I can come back and work on that. So if I give myself a link like this, we'll give ourselves a shortcut to get to that next time. Okay, that is going to do it for me today. I wish I had more time or knowledge or experience with this stuff, but we'll get back at it as soon as I can figure this out. I'll talk with a couple of people today and see if I can't solve this problem offline so that we can solve it on the stream tomorrow morning. All right, with that, that's it for me today, guys. I will see you bright and early tomorrow.